What is way more common than people realize? People lying who have no reason to lie. A lot of people just lie for attention. It's how urban legends and myths spread. My friend had a snake that started starving itself, and it would lay beside her. Turned out it was trying to make room so it could eat her. Your friend lied. My friend worked at the hospital and someone named their daughter La pronounced Ledosha. Your friend lie. But people get super mad when you even gently tell them that story isn't true. Edit typo. Edit to there's always one or two in the replies like actually I knew La. I tell a woman I work with that I need to talk to her. I tell her it's important. We set up a meeting. We walk through the door at the same time and she looks terrified. Just tell me, she says. Did I do something wrong? This person is the perfect employee. She is so good at her job, but also she handles everything with such aplomb. She is exactly the kind of person I want around me for work, but also for life. No, I say, I wanted to congratulate you on your promotion. It's ourselves. What we most often underestimate is ourselves. Mental health issues. So we're expected to hold it all in and deal with it ourselves, even when we're not equipped to, despite the fact that most people deal with some form of mental illness at some point in their lives. Miscarriage. The Mayo Clinic says up to 20 of known pregnancies end in miscarriage, which is already a lot. This is obviously heartbreaking for wanted pregnancies. That can be difficult for unwanted pregnancies too. But in addition to that 20, many people miscarry before they learn they're pregnant. While not distressing in the same way of knowingly having a miscarriage, it's distressing for many people because of a seeming inability to get pregnant. Childhood trauma. A lot of us hide it, mask it, or pretend we had normal lives. Edit. T.S. Please don't include childhood stuff in team building workplace activities. This stuff is so hard to avoid and uncomfortable. Even something like a picture of you as a child or favorite childhood memories and goals. I'd much rather focus on the person I'm today than the vulnerable little body I was many years ago. Abnormal amounts of dissociation. Many go their entire lives without ever realizing it's not how most people function. You have to do a lot of research into how and why it's not to fully understand, which only makes it worse. If you don't want to find out, I understand. It's not life-threatening or anything insane like that. It answers so many questions we have about a lot that could be wrong with us. Celebrities related to other celebrities, movie stars being the child of two other movie stars, and just general inside connections being a pretty major factor in who gets to be on screen. If you're wondering how the semi-conscious wooden plank Dakota Johnson got to be the star of the garbage pile movie Madam Web, she is the child of Don Johnson and Meg Ryan. Edit Melanie Griffith, not Meg. People not knowing about whatever the current activism is on social media. Big example is the Starbucks McDonald's boycott. Everyone online is convinced it's a huge boycott, yet most people in the real world do not know a thing about it. People forget that not everyone is online 24/7, and just because you know about something doesn't mean others do if they're not in that same online circle. Drinking and driving. Crazy the amount of people I see casually doing it. At a brewery I'll see a family of having a good old time. Dad slams back for high-gravity IPA letters over the course of a couple hours and loads the fam up in the SUV and heads on home. Or going to a work happy hour. Watch your teammates do shots then drive home 30 minutes later. It's nuts. Low self-esteem. Seen people not invite, include, or initiate something with someone for fear of rejection or the other person finding them annoying, and then the other person feels rejected from not being included. A lot of people think they are more annoying or unliked than they actually are. The amount of people with huge amounts of debt. Every time you walk past someone in the street, nearly 50 of them will carry significant credit card debt that they haven't previously paid off and is carried over. With how high some credit card interest rates can be, these credit card companies must be making a fortune. The number of people being left behind by services going digital and here to find help. Not only do some of them not have email addresses, and most of the ones who do rely on the computer, remembering their passwords, a significant number don't even have mobile phones. Miscarriages, they happen very, very often. It sucks when it happens to you and not a lot of people speak about it. But most of the time, it's just bad luck and does not mean something is wrong with you or you did something bad. It's concerning if it happens multiple times in a row though. Long COVID. There are now estimates that you may have as much as a 10 chance of long-term complications each time you get infected. This includes children. Some of these complications are immediately debilitating, and some you may not notice until they cause issues down the road. Stupidity and apathy. So many people you encounter in your day-to-day life are either idiots or just do not care. The kid at the drive-thru you thought was a dick doesn't care. The employee that made you add signs and rules like don't shit in the company shower, stupid. Kinks and fetishes. I think because it's considered taboo to talk about sex and God forbid anything out of the ordinary, a lot of people hide their sexual fantasies. I think anyone has a non-standard turn on, just not everyone is honest. Sometimes even not to yourself. Dead serious hairy nipples on women. My doctor was shocked and was convinced my hormones were off. Nope. Just my genetics. Normally I would pluck like many women, but I wasn't very well at the time. But he had clearly never seen the boobs of a woman who hadn't. People buying expensive things simply because they like nice things, and they can easily afford them. Much, much more common than most people think. Yet, according to Reddit, people buy nice things only as a flex and the purchase puts them into massive debt. Sham. A handful company controls a near monopoly on the market and artificially inflates the price of stones by buying up all the raw diamonds they can and only selling a small fraction to the public. People in recovery for drugs or alcohol. Once I joined AA and started getting sober, I realized just how many of us there are. I also randomly meet tons of people in recovery just when I share I'm sober with people. We are everywhere lol. Microaggressive misogyny and deniers of sexism. And it goes both ways. Another is male victims of sexual assault. They are unfortunately quite common, but they're ashamed of raising their voices. You are all loved. A stranger. Undiagnosed autism in adults and children. Seriously, the diagnosis is not a bad thing. If you suspect your child has it, go get it checked out so they can get the interventions they need. The earlier the better. People being ashamed of things they like. Pro wrestling, tabletop games, types of media anime, reality TV, etc. People are way more insecure about people getting a peek at their true selves than people realize. Bisexuality and pansexuality. Many people who think they are straight or gay either have a strong preference for one sex gender or have never given themselves a chance to consider alternatives. Herpes, genital herpes. Extra-OB. I saw a figure once that I can't find at a moment that like 40 of anyone that has attended college in the US and lived on campus has genital herpes. Watching body cam footage from North Carolina or whatever. Everyone's is fat. The cops, the perpetrator, the perp's families, the victims, the employees, the onlookers, everyone is fat now. Absolutely everyone is high. Doesn't matter if pot is legal or not. The number of stoned people you pass walking through a store or driving down a freeway would boggle your mind. Mental illness. I have yet to meet an adult that doesn't have some sort of diagnosed mental illness, whether it be generalized anxiety or something major like severe depression. Professional incompetence on all levels, from cashiers at McDonald's to nuclear scientists. The differences in how the organization handles and mitigates failure. Endometriosis. 10 of all people AFAB either have or will develop it in their lifetime. 40 of those with endometriosis have chronic pain. There is no cure for it. Hard for Gen Z to comprehend. But in the 70s and 80s and 90s, your grandparents and parents were way more sexually active and adventurous than you guys are. Not all women want to get married and have babies. There's a funny meme on TikTok, a lady yelling, FCK dim kids and the FCKU. I always laugh at that one. Imposter syndrome. No one knows what we are doing. We are all just winging it. Most of us are hoping that asking questions and being nice will get us there. Psypo, if you have some weird physiological problems and you don't know the cause, it could be your gut, Small intestine bacterial overgrowth especially. Coincidence. Many occurrences that seem improbable can be explained by chance alone, due to the sheer number of events happening in the world every day. Not eating enough fiber. I read once that something crazy like over 90% of North Americans don't eat enough of it, and I think about it all the time. Being intersex. It's as common as being born a redhead, and many people can go their entire lives without ever finding out that they were intersex. Sexually transmitted diseases. Around 75% of the adult population has HPV, normally symptomless in males but causes cervical cancer in women. Herpes. Text key 20 facts. Main 20 cause 20 of 20 genital 20 herpes. Your chances of becoming homeless in the United States are far greater than becoming a millionaire, or even making $100,000. There are a lot more very kinky people doing very kinky things than you think. Seriously, most people just have no idea. Flying squirrels. Evidently, there are more flying squirrels than regular squirrels in Ohio. But they're nocturnal, quiet, unexpressed racism, sexism, homophobia. The masks come off when the person is not in a public setting. Young people suddenly dying. It's always happened. We just never had 24-hour algorithm news pumped at us. Feeling shame about the smallest things in your life. Feeling like you have no idea what you're doing. Alcoholism. There are many more functional alcoholics or recovering than people would guess. How prevalent cocaine is. At least where I live, you go to a bar or club and it's everywhere. Being intersex, or having something of gender anomaly in your body, genes and or hormones.